Yo, what's up, sports bettors? We had some close calls yesterday, so you can see there's one, two, and then three slips where we had a lot of the same picks, and we went 4 for 5 on prize picks. So again, we're always playing flex plays on prize picks. A lot of people ask me, they'll be like, oh man, if you would have just went with a 3-pick entry with your top 3 picks, you would have cashed. But again, we've gone through the math so many times. If you want to make money on prize picks long term, you got to be going with 5 and 6-pick flex plays, right? And we can go through the math very briefly one more time. And again, I don't say this to brag, but here's my results. 2023 updated on prize picks 2023 total. So prize picks is a 13.55% ROI, all with 5 and 6-pick flexes. It's just math. So I'll put this spreadsheet kind of breaking down prize picks payouts in the description. But long story short, if you can select overs and unders at a clip of 57%, so if you're hitting your over-unders 57% of the time, your ROI in a 5 flex is really good. It's 19.25%. Right? So 57% is a lot, but if you can select overs and unders 57% of the time correctly on prize picks, your ROI is 19.25% if you're playing 5 flexes. Now, if you're playing 2-pick power plays, here's your ROI. Frickin' negative 2.53%. So when we're going through my results, and I go on winning streaks, right? I go on losing streaks. So we had some absolutely insane cashes a few days ago, right? So a lot of big ones. But long story short, you're only going to see through the winning streaks, here's a horrible one, through the winning streaks, through the losing streaks, it's all 5 and 6-pick flexes because that's how you make money, right? But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get into the picks. So the first play I have is from the Odds Jam screen. So what this screen does, and you can look at any market, any sport, millions of odds updating in real time, is all it does is it pulls in data from prize picks, underdog, and the sports books, and lets you compare lines side by side. So for college basketball player PRAs, there's not a lot of books that post odds. It's a more niche market, but what you're going to notice is Matt Bradley is a kind of interesting line discrepancy, right? So what you're going to notice is like, dang, Prize Picks has his line at 18, Underdog Fantasy, so their direct competitor, right? These platforms work in basically the exact same way, is at 18.5, so Underdog is higher. DraftKings is at 18.5, 10bet is at 18.5, and Casumo, a Canadian sportsbook, is at 18.5. So a lot of people will be like, oh, you're not in Canada. Why are you looking at Canadian sportsbooks? Because it's another data point on where the line should be set, right? So when I was a trader, and I'm not just trying to talk about this random stuff, but you wanted to see more data. You wanted to make more informed trades. You were trying to look at all the data possible. It's no different as a sharp sports bettor. I want to see odds on every sportsbook. More sportsbooks I can see odds from, the more informed betting decisions I'm going to make, the more money I'm going to make. So here we can see prize picks is at 18. Then we have 4 other data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, all telling us nah. Matt Bradley should be at 18.5. Prize picks at 18. All 4 other data points at 18.5. We want to take the over on prize picks. Prize picks is too low. And what you're going to notice too is 1, 2, 3. All of these sports books, right, they have the over favored. Lines are juiced towards the over. DraftKings has the over at minus 120, the under at minus 110, so the over is favored. The over is juiced, right? It's the same on 10bet and it's the same on Casumo. So Casumo is actually a little more aggressive than DraftKings, right? They have the over slightly more juiced at minus 124. So DraftKings, 10bet, and Casumo are actually saying the over 18.5 should be favored, and we're getting over 18 on prize picks. So we're getting half a point of value, and the over 18.5 is the favored outcome. So that's the first play I went with. Then the second play I went with is right here. And this is probably the tool I use the most. So the tool we were just looking at, the Odds Jam screen, super cool, super useful, but it's not going to like spit out bets to you. So what the screen does is I can open it up again, is the main reason I use the screen is you can so let's go to like NBA player assists, is you can just see a bunch of data at once and scan for discrepancies, right? So this is kind of like, it's called like a classical odds screen, and this is what most people are looking at. So for example, here we can see the first one, Dennis Smith, assists. Hey, there's a big discrepancy. Prize Picks and Underdog, they're direct competitors. They're off from one another. That's a play we want to look at, right? So I just use this screen to kind of look for discrepancies. So here, for example, Evan Mobley assists. Every book has him at 2.5. Underdog prize picks are at 2.5. BetMGM, DraftKings, Bet365. There's no value, right? There's no freaking value in the market. So I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. There's dozens of sports books all posting odds around the exact same level. There's no value in the market. I don't want to touch it, right? You don't just want to bet to bet. I don't follow my gut. 99.9% of sports bettors follow their gut. I solely follow data, never my gut, because I like money, because I like getting results like this, where I'm up 17K on prize picks. We're not even 3 months into the year. Every single play has been given out for free on Twitter and YouTube. And, the people who one play will lose, I don't claim to win every day. There are winning streaks and losing streaks. I just have an edge and I win long term. It's very simple, right? So anyways, the second tool I use, and this is where I get most of my picks from, it's the easiest tool to use, is the OddsJam Positive EV tool. So all you're doing with this tool is hitting the bet in bold and in green, right? So again, we've gone through the math behind, prize picks, their payouts so many times. What you're going to see here is you have dozens of sports books, or not dozens. Well, there are dozens, but currently, OddsJam, when you're using all the tools, it will just show you sports books in your location. So at least in terms of New York sports books, there's like 10 data points. They're all telling us Brent Burns over 2.5 shots on goal should be priced around, minus 140. Pinnacle, sharpest sports book in the world, they're pricing this at minus 142. Bovada Bet Online around minus 135. DraftKings, FanDuel, BetRivers around minus 145. So again, as a sharp bettor, you're never going to get an exact answer as to what should the odds be. Right? Each of these sports books, they all set lines independently, right? So you're never going to get a perfect answer as to what should the exact odds be. But kind of looking at all the sports books, it's like, dang, all of the sports books have the over heavily favored, around, let's say, minus 140. We're getting minus 119 in a prize picks 5 or 6 flex. Again, we're sharp bettors, so we've gone through, the payouts. We understand exactly how prize picks works. So many people, they log into prize picks, they start playing, they don't even understand the platform, and then they wonder why they lose money. Makes no frickin' sense to me. It's like you got to study these platforms. All you should be playing is 5 and 6 pick flex. So we're getting such great odds on prize picks minus 119, such clear value, enough value to beat the juice, beat the VIG that those sports books bake into their market and have a profitable play, right? So essentially, if we want to go into the math a bit more, we can open up what's called a no VIG odds calculator. And essentially, this is very important to think about. So on prize picks, right, they're not varying your payouts depending on if you select overs or unders. So here, 3x payout, 3x payout. If we switch the pick, 3x payout. So, right, any 2-pick power play is a 3x payout. So any 5 flex is always the same payouts as well. So the prices for overs and unders are always the same. That's not the same on sports books, right? So Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker in the world, they're telling you the over should be priced at minus 142, right? The over should be the favored outcome. The over should be juiced, right? Minus 200 means a 2-to-1 favorite, 66.67% to occur. So this is minus 142. 2-to-1 favorite, minus 200, 66.67% to occur, 2/3 to occur. Here, this is minus 142, 1.4-to-1 favorite, right? So essentially, you can remove the VIG from the sportsbook and find out what is the true win probability for this bet. So according to Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, this play is winning 54.85% of the time, right? Removing the juice. If they had lines, let's say, juiced all the way to minus 192, so there would be more juice on the over, more favored towards the outcome, closer to minus 200, this win probability goes up, right? If it were only minus 122, it goes down. Right? So this just quantifies, based on a sportsbook's odds, how likely they're saying an outcome is to occur. All the sportsbooks have the over heavily favored, which means the market, right? All the sportsbooks, all the sports bettors are agreeing, right, that Brent Burns' over should be favored. If his under should be favored, every sharp bettor in the world would be hammering his under at plus money until his under was favored, right? If his under should be favored, every sports betting syndicate, every smart bettor in the world would be hammering his under at plus 107, plus 105, plus 102, plus 115, right? And then the under would be favored. Sportsbooks move lines due to supply and demand. So long story short, all these books have the over heavily favored. We're getting minus 119 in a flex. So we're literally day trading the sports books, taking advantage. So here you can see my picks. Kyrie over 10.5 rebounds plus assists. Matt Bradley over 18.5 PRAs. Seth Jones under 2.5 shots on goal. Serge Ibaka Rice over 3 rebounds. Brent Burns over 2.5 shots on goal. 400 to win 4K. Let's make some frickin' money.